Hey everyone, Theo here. Today I want to talk about the different types of pens that you can use for urban sketching. By the way, before I start this video, I have a favor to ask from you. If you guys enjoy the videos that you see on my YouTube channel, consider supporting me on Patreon. You can certainly use the same pen that you use for writing, for drawing. But when it comes to drawing, you actually have a lot more options. For example, you can choose different types of pen tips, whether it's a hard tip or a soft tip or a brush tip. There are so many colors you can choose from. Some pens are refillable and some are not. Some inks are water soluble and some are not. Choosing the correct type of pen for sketching, drawing, or creating art is kind of important, especially if you are thinking of mixing and matching with other types of media. And the performance of the pens will vary depending on several factors such as the ink that's used, the type of paper, and also other media that you are using together with the pens. Let's start by looking at the most common pen you can find in a stationery shop, the Rollerball point pen. It may not be obvious in this video, but there is actually a ball at the end of the pen tip. And the pen tip can be tapered like this, or it can be a needle point like this. Either way, if you look really close, there is actually a ball there that can roll around. Such pens can glide on the paper really smoothly. The thing about Rollerball is sometimes they can leave ink blobs at the end of the line. But otherwise you can get pretty consistent line width. And I actually kind of like Rollerball, especially this pen. This is the Uniball Signal Gel Stick. Now some colors feature archival pigmented ink, but some colors have inks that may fade. The important thing you need to know about Rollerball point pens is do not drop them. More specifically, do not hit the pen tip on hard surfaces because that is very likely to damage the pen tip. Next, we have the Rollerball or needle point. And the line consistency is actually better compared to the one with the tapered tip because this is less likely to develop ink blobs. Having said that, I actually prefer the Rollerball with the tapered tip because this can create ink blobs, which makes the lines look more interesting. If you create line art with watercolor, I highly recommend you find pens with waterproof pigmented inks, and the brand Uniball has many pens with such inks. These are two Rollerball white gel pens that I use very often to create highlights in my sketches. And this is the Sakura Jelly Roll, and this is the Uniball UM153. I love to use these pens for creating details and highlights. By the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. I have many reviews for pens on my blog and also on this YouTube channel, and you can find those reviews using the links that I have for you in the video description below. Next, let's talk about pens with the needle point, and they can come with a felt tip at the end or a metal tip. For metal tips, the tip can be hollow, but sometimes you may find a needle inside the barrel here, and the needle can move in and out to regulate ink flow, and sometimes the needle tip just has a Rollerball at the end. These pens can be disposable or refillable. For example, this rotary pen is disposable, but the company also makes a refillable version of the needle point pens, which are sometimes called the multi-liner or the fine liner. These pens are available with different tip sizes, and these pens are designed to draw lines with consistent line widths. The pens can be purchased in sets like this, either in a big set or small set, or you can buy the pens individually and they can come in different colors. The most important feature you must find out about such pens is whether the ink is waterproof and fade resistant. I'm actually not a fan of the needle point because I prefer my lines to have some line width variation, and for needle points you get very consistent line widths. For technical drawings, the line width actually has meaning. So if you require different line widths and you require consistent line widths, multi-liners or fine liners are the pens to go with. Even though these three pens all have needle points, they have their own pros and cons. If you want to draw fast, go with the felt tip or the Rollerball needle tip. If you want more line widths, more selection for line widths, go with the multi-liner or fine liner pens that give you the selection. If you want to refill your pen, go with pens that can be refilled. If you want a pen that can last forever, go with a pen that is refillable and comes with a metal needle tip. But the downside here is this is slightly more scratchy on paper, so this will not let you draw that fast. Now this Sharpie marker also has a needle point tip and it's a felt tip. Now what I want you to pay attention here is this word. Permanent does not mean the ink will last forever. In fact, the ink inside this Sharpie marker will actually fade with time. So permanent actually just means the ink cannot be wiped away easily. Now if you want ink that can last forever, look for pigmented ink or fade-proof ink. Just like ballpoint pens, you can find needle point pens with different colors. Now this one here, this is the Derwent Graphic Line Painter, and this has liquid ink inside. The ink is pigmented and the ink has clogged this part here, so now it's quite difficult for me to get the ink out. I love the colors from Derwent Graphic, and when the pens are new, they are great to use, and sometimes when you draw, you press down hard, you get huge ink blobs, which could be good or bad depending on whether you are expecting the ink blobs. There are actually many companies that make technical drawing pens. Now if you want a technical drawing pen that has a felt tip and is refillable, there is the Copic Multi-Liner SP. The felt tip can be replaced when it's worn out, and the ink cartridge can also be replaced. As to whether this is more cost effective compared to the disposable pens, you have to do some math to find out. When the felt tip wears out, you can replace the felt tip as well, which is quite inexpensive. The thing, I'm not sure if the refillable version of the Copic Multi-Liner is worth the money because it's so pricey. Next, let's look at the pens with the brush tip. So this one has a small brush tip, and this one here has a bigger brush tip, and this is made with bristles, as in you can see the individual hair strands, and you can create textured marks like this. And this pen does not have much ink left. The brush tips can come in different sizes, so this particular one is kind of big. And to draw thin lines, you have to be very precise, because if you press down hard, you can draw thick lines very easily. And the ink flow for this particular pen is really good because it's new. You can create textured strokes as well if you draw fast enough. This can be used for creating calligraphy art. Some of these brush pens can be refilled. I'm not sure about this, but this Kuretake brush pen can certainly be refilled. So you can either replace the ink cartridge with a new one, or you can use a blunt needle and syringe to squeeze ink into the ink cartridge, which is more economical, so that you can continue to reuse this. For this Pentel brush pen, this is also refillable. You can buy an ink cartridge, or you can use a needle and syringe to squeeze ink inside. There are actually ink refill syringes like this with a blunt tip that you can purchase online. If you want to learn how you can refill this brush pen, I have a link in the video description below. Let's look at the other brush pen. So this is the Pentel brush sign pen. Now the brand is actually not important because there are many companies that make such pens. The pens are available in different colors, and just like a brush, you can draw thin lines or press down harder to get the broader strokes. The ink in this pen is water soluble and it's not pigmented, which is to say that the color can fade when exposed to light. So these are best used inside a sketchbook because you can close your sketchbook so that the ink is not exposed to light. Unfortunately, the info for the ink in this pen is actually not listed on the pen itself. So to find the info for the ink, you have to go to their website. So if you are at a stationery shop and you cannot see information such as what the ink is made with, it's best to do some research online first. Next, let's look at fountain pens. There is actually a lot I can say about fountain pens, but generally speaking, the advantage of using a fountain pen is they are refillable, so in the long run, it's more economical. Second advantage is there are different types of pen nibs that can create different effects. For example, this is the full-day nib. With this full-day nib, I can hold the pen more vertically to get thinner lines, and I can tilt it down like this to get the broader strokes. So this, as you can see, can create very expressive lines, and you can control the lines. This Sailor fountain pen that I bought in 2015 cost me around $500, which is very expensive, but you don't actually need to spend so much money to buy fountain pens because there are many affordable versions out there. Sailor also makes a more affordable version of the full-day nib, and this is less than $15. The point here is you don't actually need to spend so much money to buy fountain pens. A good fountain pen can be purchased for less than $20 or $30. And if you are a beginner, the Lamy Safari is actually a pretty good option to go with. This is the one that I bought more than 10 years ago. It's really scratched up, but it's still working, and sometimes you may have to buy the refillable ink converter separately. So with the ink converter, you can use this pen with your own fountain pen ink forever. So it's a really good deal. And drawing with a fountain pen looks and feels pretty cool. So the pens that I have mentioned in this video are the more common pens that you can find in stationery shops, and they are quite easily available for purchase. So when you are choosing a pen, look for the type of pen tip that suits your work. See whether the ink is refillable or whether you can use your own ink. And if you are buying a disposable pen, check what's the ink in the pen, whether it's fade-proof, waterproof, water-soluble, or archival. So out of all the pens that I have shown you today, the ones that I use most of the time for urban sketching are these three. This is the Uniball Air with a roller ball, and this can draw thin and thick lines depending on how much pressure you apply, which is quite rare for a roller ball pen. And this is the Uniball Signal Gel Stick with also a roller ball. These two pens feature waterproof archival ink, so I can use them with watercolor. And the third pen that I use quite often is the Sakura Jelly Roll. Now these are all disposable pens. For fountain pens, one of my favorites is the Pelikan M200, which is around $200, and I have this pen for more than 10 years now. I actually do not bring my expensive Sailor fountain pens out for sketching, even though I really love to draw with them, because I do not want to drop them and I do not want to lose them, because these Sailor fountain pens with the specialty nibs are incredibly difficult to find and to purchase. Alright, I hope this video is useful. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye!